Hey, Internet, how's it going? So we have Justin here alongside Alexander,
Hello.
bringing you the hockey podcast you're about to hear. And remember, a rooster crossing the road is poultry in motion. And on that note, we're going to start our Heated O-Pinion section.
Woot woot.
Figured it'd be appropriate to have a good pun to start off the way, so I say let's get right to it. Start off with the Cup Finals prediction. Who do you have going and winning?
So I'm actually this year going to take the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Okay.
I think they overcome the difficulty of last year's playoffs.
Okay.
I think they have a good season, which we predicted,
Mhm.
which I think everybody's predicting, and we'll be
yeah.
shocked if that doesn't happen.
Same.
I think I would probably be more shocked if they have a bad season this year than them being eliminated in the first round last year.
Okay.
I think it would be a bigger surprise to me because the playoffs are so different and intense that I was surprised, but I wasn't starstruck shocked by that last year. This year, regular season, if they are bad, I would be absolutely stunned. But I think they take last year's disappointment, learn from it, bring in a couple different pieces here and there like they've done in the offseason. A guy like Pat Maroon coming in,
Mm-hmm.
you bring him in because he won the Cup last year,
Mm-hmm.
and you want that experience in the room. You want that basically not just a veteran presence, but maybe even like a calming presence of somebody that's been through the whole fight.
Right.
I think that's why you went and got him, and you got him at a great price.
Yeah.
An absolutely great price. I don't think he's there to help them win games this year. He's helped them to win games come April, May, June.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think Tampa Bay is focused on just playing this year, and then we're going to have something for you different come the playoffs.
Okay.
I think when you get swept and embarrassed like they did, you learn a lot. You learn the most through your failures.
That's right.
And they failed hard. And so I think they learned a whole lot. And I fully expect them to have a different resiliency that we have not seen from Tampa Bay.
Okay. All right. I like it. So who are they playing against?
I will put them up against the Las Vegas Golden Knights.
All right. And who do you have taking the series?
I'm actually going to take the Vegas Golden Knights in the series, which will be a huge disappointment if Tampa Bay does have the year that they could have,
Yeah.
make it to the Stanley Cup final, and still fall short.
Yeah.
But that's a team that's window is wide open for several years. They've been close, actually, in recent years. Tampa Bay has not had a bad team in a long time. And they've had a lot of different playoff successes. Just last year was so unexpected.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's predicted them being swept.
No, not truthfully.
Yeah.
There's someone like, I had that in my bracket. Yeah, but your whole bracket was nothing but the upset sweeping the favorite, so go
Yeah.
away.
So sure.
It was an anti-bracket, and you're saying you were right. But no, Vegas, I feel, has a chance to do something special this year, given the acquisitions they made last year and the way they made them, the durations they made them for. They were thinking last year, but they were also thinking down the road for the next several years as far as what the pieces they got and how they have structured their team. They've been structured really well from the start.
Yes.
They haven't had to, like, so many teams are going through general manager changes and coaching changes and whatnot, trying to change the structure and the culture. Vegas has the structure and the culture, and that's why they've been a playoff team as long as they've been in the league. Granted, It's only 2 years.
But
Still, to do that, there's teams that have been in the league the past 2 years that have struggled to do half of what Vegas has done.
Yeah.
And I think that Vegas is going to be so hungry after the way that last year ended.
Yeah.
And they know, like Tampa Bay, you get through the regular season, you win the games that you can win, you don't have to be the best that there is. You need to get into the playoffs, and then you need to play well and hope the zebras aren't blind. That's basically the formula. And I think that this is going to be their year in regards to the way the Western Conference is stacked up of
Okay.
the teams that are getting older that were ahead of them, the teams that are younger that aren't quite to the point where Vegas is at, of this is Vegas's year to make it happen.
Okay. All right. For the Cup final, I have from the East, I have the Islanders going.
Okay.
As I talked in the previous one, I think another year under Barry Trotz will do wonders for him. They did really well, caught lightning in a bottle. You know, their first year under Trotz, I think they can catch that same lightning and
Okay.
make it all the way this year. And from the West, I actually have Vegas.
Interesting.
Yes, and I also have them winning it.
Wow.
I agree. I think this is their year to go all the way and get there. I mean, after the first year of them being in.
I think next season we need to compare notes beforehand and then just change some of our stuff so we have a little bit more heated opinion to go back and forth with, because quite frankly, it's kind of boring saying, oh, yeah, same team's going to win.
Yeah.
But
well, I mean, the Easter one was a little different, so, you know.
We picked the same different teams to lose.
Yeah,
okay.
well, I'm
Good
sure
for
on our other predictions, it'll be different, possibly.
Well, and there's no way that we're going to be right on any of these. So
No, of course not. It's like the kiss of death. That's why I'm
Absolutely.
not picking the Flames.
Well, there you go. Okay, so a pick for Vegas is actually an anti-pick for the Flames.
And if Vegas goes, I actually don't mind Vegas. So, you know, it's kind of a
I
win-win.
gotta say, it's hard to hate a team that's only been around for 2 years and done nothing but succeed and try hard.
Yeah.
So, and then get screwed. So, I mean, I think you get a little bit of sympathy points.
Oh, yeah. Quite a few.
Yeah.
Especially since there's probably at least one person from each team on that team. So you're like, oh, I can cheer for him. He used to play for, he used to play for our team. Yeah. Cheer for him.
Yep.
All right. So, how about your bold prediction for the league?
My bold prediction for the league this year is we will double the number. That's easy to say for me.
Mm-hmm, sure.
The number of 100-point players that we have in the league. Last year we had 6. There were, after those 6, there were some guys at 99 and 98.
Mm-hmm.
But even if you added those guys, you're still only going to add like 3 or 4 more. I think scoring continues to go up. I think we have a league that wants more and more goals, that wants more and more points, more and more flash, and they're going to continue to do things, even with some of the offseason rule changes that have been made, to help increase scoring. Being able to let the offense choose which face-off dot they can set up from. That's
just
big.
Little things that'll
just everything, every little tweak they try and make always seems to allow for more goals. And
it doesn't really compromise the rest of the game either.
It doesn't. No, it doesn't necessarily change the competitive structure of the game.
Yeah.
It just situationally, you should have a higher percentage of goals scored because now you can set up every face-off the way you want.
Right.
And set the players up the way you want. And you got to win that. And you see goals scored off of face-offs all the time.
Yeah, it's insane.
I mean, you let these guys take set plays and predict things as if it was like a set football play or something like that. To where, hey, you can actually run a play as opposed to
hope for the best.
Run the cycle and make the pass and get the shot kind of thing, or have it tip in.
Right.
You can be very intentional with that. And so with that coming and just the overall skill in the game getting higher and higher, I feel like every year we see more and more high offensive players coming into the league. We don't see high-end defensive players coming to the league. And if they are, they're high defensive players because they play offense.
Right.
Nobody's coming in the league and be like, boy, we can't wait for this guy to get in because he's going to be a shutdown defenseman. The new Zdeno Chara is coming in here. The new, Drew Doughty's coming in. It's nothing like that. It's like we get excited about guys because they score goals.
Right. They're flashy.
Yes. And so I think we'll go from 6 to at least 12 100-point players.
So it's funny you say that because originally I had something similar as my bold prediction for the league.
Yeah.
And then I changed it. So apparently I should have just kept it and, gone with it.
Were you going to have a 60-goal scorer? Or?
No, I was going to have at least 10 100-point.
Well, that is very similar.
Extremely similar. So, but I changed it.
Okay.
Before. So I think this year a goalie will win the Conn Smythe.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I think the past few years the goalies have been snubbed.
I'm gonna write this down.
Right? Yeah, I already got it written down. Okay. I mean, it's in pencil, so I can change it and erase it. But
well, it's on podcast now. It'll be on the internet, so there's no getting rid of it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I could add that out, but no. I think the argument can be made for Bennington last year. I don't think the Blues would have been anywhere near where they were. I mean, yes, of course, he did have a couple bad games here and there, but for overall, he played really lights out. And then a few years ago, not to bring up bad memories, but, Murray should have gotten instead of Crosby.
So long as Crosby's on the team, he'll win the Conn Smythe.
Exactly, which is ridiculous. It's like they didn't win because of Crosby. They won because of Murray. They were down and out. And then Murray came in and took them right up. Mm-hmm. So I think this year, a goalie will get the Conn Smythe.
Well, and considering that you have the Las Vegas Golden Knights winning, I think you actually have a name to put on that trophy right now, don't you?
Perhaps.
PK Subban?
Yes.
PK Subban's little brother.
Yeah.
Malcolm?
Malcolm?
Malcolm!
Yeah.
Malcolm is a little brother name.
It really is.
No offense to anybody out there named Malcolm, but
Unless you're the
your
older
name,
brother.
if your name is Malcolm, you are probably a younger brother.
Yes. We feel sorry if you are not the younger brother and your name Malcolm. But,
They probably even made a TV show about you.
Yeah, weird. It could happen. So, yeah, that's my bold prediction. We'll see how that pans out.
All right.
We'll
have to wait a long time.
A long time.
For that to pan
my
out.
theory is we'll wait so long, we'll forget about it. And
I will
it'll be
not
fine.
let you forget about this. Because when we do our playoff preview, I'll be like, "Hey, remember that time back in September
What?
before we knew better?" Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't doubt that. So we'll see what happens.
All right.
All right. So which we're going to pick 4 trophies.
Absolutely.
Which one do you want to start with?
Let's go Jack Adams first.
Okay.
Coach of the year.
Okay.
In our Western Conference preview, I said that the Colorado Avalanche would win the President's Trophy.
Okay.
And when a team wins the President's Trophy that barely made the playoffs the previous year, you're going to say they made a pretty substantial jump. And given that it was John Cooper that won the Jack Adams Trophy last year with the year that they had, it's easy to go to, well, this team just had like the best year, so let's say that he's the best coach. And considering that he didn't win it last year or a year before that, to where it's like, oh, he's going to win it 2 years in a row, because usually best coach doesn't win 2 years in a row.
No.
It's usually somebody that's doing something outside of the expected. And so I think that this year it will be Jared Bednar out of the Colorado Avalanche, because the Avalanche should have a phenomenal year, and he should get some credit for that.
Okay. All right. I have the coach coming out of the East.
Okay.
I was Coach Q, because I think he'll go in there and revitalize the Panthers and kind of get things turned around the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
In the Eastern Conference preview, I had the Panthers getting in, so I think that'll be enough to get him at least some name run.
Now, you think that the Panthers will have 10 to 50 points more than they had last year? Because they had 86 last year, and you put them in at like 95 to 100?
Correct.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So you think he's going to win Coach of the Year for making his team 7 wins better?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm not denying that could be a possibility, because it is Joel Quenneville.
Mm-hmm. And that's part of the reason.
It's easy to give it to the big name as opposed to, oh, hey, let's give it to this little guy over here.
Yep. And that's also part of the reason, because it's Coach Q.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sure. That's what he does.
Because if they wanted to vote and give it to somebody that actually deserved it, Greg Berube would have been the Jack Adams winner last year. And instead it's like, oh, we'll just give it to the guy that won the most games.
Yep. I mean, no, you're wrong. Another coach might not have won 62 games, but it would be pretty close.
You took a playoff team and kept them a playoff team. Congratulations.
Mm-hmm.
You took a division winner and kept them a division winner. Congratulations.
Exactly.
It wasn't that impressive of a coaching job, I felt. I think they just overperformed and stayed healthy. You can't you can't attribute a team staying healthy to the coach. I don't believe.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's the reason why they won so many games, because they didn't have to fight through adversity. If they did have to fight through adversity and still did that, if they lost Stamkos for half the year and still won 62 games, then so help me, then you did something.
Yes.
But you just sat behind the bench and watched some of the best players in the world just go out there and just play the game of hockey.
Hit the autoplay button.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I agree. So, like I say, I think the big name, and I think if he gets him anywhere other than a wild card,
Mm-hmm.
I think he'll probably get it.
Okay. All right. Then let's move on to the MVP, the Hart Trophy.
Okay.
Who is the Hart Memorial Trophy.
Who do you got?
Keeping with like last year, we had Mr. Cooper winning for the Tampa Bay. Well, it was followed closely by Nikita Kucherov, highest point total getter on his team.
Wide margin.
And so this year, I think for Jared Bednar, that will be Nathan MacKinnon. I honestly think Nathan MacKinnon should have won it a couple years ago when they gave it to Taylor Hall, because MacKinnon, again, willed his team into the playoffs 2 years ago, played phenomenal, didn't get it then, deserved it. I think this year, he continues to take us forward, and people will start to see how good he is, as Colorado is one of the better teams in the league during the regular season. Over the course of the year, there's going to be more buzz around him that he's deserved, for several years. I think this is the year where the whole league wakes up and realizes, wow, that guy that we saw in the playoffs last year, that was just a tank, but a fast tank.
He does this all the time?
He does it night in and night out.
Huh.
Wow. And if you want to actually say value, the money that they aren't paying him to put up these kind of numbers compared to everybody else in the league, he should be the MVP every year until that contract runs out, regardless as to how he plays.
Yeah, I agree.
Because that is absolutely the most valuable player in the league.
Yes, I would agree, which is why I have him also winning the Hart.
Wow, look at you
and,
go.
We're right back on track. Okay, so which one do you want to go for next?
I think Rookie of the Year will be interesting, so let's go Vezina.
Okay.
Who do you have for Vezina?
I have the goalie for the team I picked to win the cup, Marc-Andre Fleury.
I also have Marc-Andre Fleury winning the Vezina trophy.
Are you sure we didn't compare notes or anything beforehand? I'm pretty sure we didn't, so...
My goodness, this is ridiculous. Okay.
Right.
This is why we saved Calder for last, just because I think we'll be different there, but...
I'm going to laugh if we're not.
If we're not, I'm going to lose my mind. All right, so why did you choose Marc-Andre Fleury to be the best goaltender?
I mean, he's been pretty consistent for the last couple of years. I think they tightened up the defense a little bit more in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that'll help him out a little bit, so he won't have to make the extra couple saves here and there that he has been having to make. Yeah, like I said, I think he just pulls it together, catches that lightning in a bottle, and tears it up.
So I will go with two different things here. One of those is this is the Vasilevsky rule, I'm calling it, to where you are the goaltender on a really, really good team, and therefore you're going to acquire a whole bunch of wins, not necessarily because you were the best goaltender, but because your team was a better team that night.
And you didn't lose it for him.
To where your team won 5-2, 6-1, 3-0, like I think Vegas will do this year, given the improvements that they have made and the motivation they should have. Also, I'm going to go with the way last year ended motivation for Marc-Andre Fleury.
That was my other.
Because if there's anybody that has something to prove, with some of the ways that those games ended, it's like you were the goaltender and you gave up 4 goals in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You were the goaltender and gave up a cheap shot in overtime. These are things that haunt you during the off season, and he is the kind of guy. I think most goaltenders are the kind of guy in that situation. If you're in that situation, you're probably the kind of guy that when that happens, you don't lock down and say, boy, I'm just a crappy goalie. It's your motivation all off season, and you watch those highlights over and over again. You put that poster up in your locker, and you relive that as motivation going forward, because this year, you're not going to let that happen again.
Yeah, I mean, just the way he reacted after letting that goal, you could tell just the heartbreak and the pain that just happened as soon as that happened. So that was actually another one of my reasons is I think he's going to come back on fire and be very determined.
Okay.
And I think he's going to do it.
All right, then let's move on to our Rookie of the Year, the Calder Trophy. Who do you have?
Should we go same time? No.
I think we'll be different.
Okay.
I think we will be different.
Is that your bold prediction?
Yes, my bold prediction is that we will be different in what we're about to do.
Okay.
All right.
I have Capo Caco.
Capo Caco. All right. I can see. Explain your pick to me here.
I didn't want to pick Jack Hughes.
Okay.
And just from what I've heard, Capo Caco sounds like he's a little bit more NHL ready than Hughes, although Hughes has been doing extremely well.
Well, Hughes has been playing. Like, I think Caco still, I don't know that he's been playing quite as much as Hughes has. They've been letting Hughes play a lot in the preseason. I don't know that Caco's getting quite the ice time. I think he's maybe nursing some injury type stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Jack Hughes already speaks the language and everything. I think Capo Caco's coming over with a little bit more social things to figure out. Hockey-wise, apparently he's ahead of Jack Hughes.
Yes.
Is the speculation.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's my reason. Like I said, I don't really know all the rookies, so it's like, let's pick one and see what happens. So, who'd you get?
I will take Hughes.
Okay.
But I will take Quinn Hughes. Defenseman out of Vancouver.
Okay.
The way that he played the end of last year showed a lot of promise, much like Cale Makar, just without the hubbub. With the year that I think Vancouver will have this breakout kind of year, I would say I'm more confident that Vancouver will make the playoffs than New York will make the playoffs more than the Devils will make the playoffs,
Okay.
to where their rookie is going to be highly touted.
Right. Spotlight be on them a little bit more.
Right.
Mhm.
And this would also mean that Vegas goes back, or Vancouver goes back to back Calder Trophy. Pedersen
Which,
last year,
yeah, it'd be crazy.
Quinn Hughes this year. I think that would be a fantastic storyline. And I think because he has the name Hughes, I think there will be at the end of the year, it'll be between Hughes, Makar, Hughes, and Kako.
See, I almost picked down Makar.
And Makar,
Yeah.
he could be. And basically what I'm saying is I think Quinn Hughes will outplay Cale Makar, which I'm not totally confident in that. But I think Hughes will stand out more in Vancouver than Makar will stand out
In Colorado.
because Colorado's success will be off of McKinnon and Rantanen and Landeskog and Girard and all the other and Kadri and the other pieces they have there. Whereas in Vancouver, it's going to be it's Pedersen, it's Brock Besser, it's Quinn Hughes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's those guys. And he's going to stand out more, even though maybe his stats and stuff might not be as good as Makar. I think he will stand out more media-wise, and that's really how this is going to be decided. It's not necessarily who statistically had the best year. It's who do we think is the rookie of the year, who do we want to give the award to. I won't be surprised if it's Jack Hughes, just because, it's Jack Hughes. We've been talking about Jack Hughes ever since he was 12 years old.
Yeah.
But no, I'm going to go with the old Quinn Hughes because I think he's the real thing, and I think he's going to do some really good things in Vancouver, and I think he's going to be on a lot of highlights with Pedersen.
Okay, yeah, I would agree. I was almost tempted just to say not one of the top 3 picks, because last year Pedersen won it. Last year Barzal won it, and then the year before that it was Austin Matthews, which he was. Barzal wasn't the number 1 pick last year, was he? Do you remember? 'Cause I don't remember. I don't
think he was the number 1. No.
Yeah.
So
that's what I was going to go
have
with.
the number 1. I think
No.
Rangers had them, or
16th overall.
yeah.
So the number 1 didn't win it the last couple of years, but did. But they did before that, so it's like, who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's kind of my reasoning. Is like, just throw a dartboard and pick a name and call her good.
Pretty much, yeah. It'll be a fun discussion to update probably
Yes.
all of these things when we get to about the All-Star break,
Mm-hmm.
and we kind of do sort of like a mid-season look ahead to the playoff push type of podcast you're about to hear, and so that'll be fun to kind of reassess at that point of being like, well, how are we going on these, and do we want to jump the rails a little bit and say we're going to hop on this track, because we'll obviously know a lot more at that point, which is exciting.
Right, sounds good. Okay, so that caps all of our predictions, previews, and everything. So any other questions, comments you want to add? Because I do have one.
Well, you have one. I'd love to hear it.
Yes. So my question, and we kind of loosely addressed it earlier in one of our other talks, is would you rather have your team consistently make the playoffs, but not really get kind of close to the cup, but not necessarily win it? Maybe every now and again. But consistently year in, year out, make the playoffs. Or like once every 10 years, make the playoffs, but make a deep run.
So basically, would you rather be the Boston Bruins or maybe like the Nashville Predators?
Yeah, or I was thinking of the Carolina Hurricanes as well.
As a fan, I want to see my team in the playoffs every year because the playoffs is what you are waiting for the whole year. And at least then every year you have the hope of somebody doing something, making a run, like maybe this year. Maybe
this could be our year. This could be our year. Yep.
Yes. To where every season you get excited. I know some like Colorado Avalanche fans, like as this team is rebuilding, it's like they can't get excited for this team yet because it's like, well, hopefully this year we make the playoffs. Oh, we made the playoffs. Well, that's good. That's enough. And I can't get excited about maybe we'll win this playoff series because then I'll be disappointed. Then they win that playoff series and like, oh, well, that was way more than expected. But I can't get excited about maybe winning the next playoff series because that's further than we should be right now. And so you're hampered so that if they do make that run all the way to the cup, you didn't enjoy it the whole ride because you are always like, This is further than we should be. This is further. We're too far away from home right now. We're too far away from home. Another step. No, we're too far away from home. Kind of that like apprehensive. If your team's in the playoff year after year, it's like, all right, maybe this year. Come on, we can do it this year, boys. We can do it this year. So I would much rather be in the playoffs for 25 straight years and win 3 cups, 4 cups, as opposed to be in the playoffs every 5 years, but be in the cup final once every 5 years.
Right.
That's where I'd be.
I'm kind of in the same boat. I've been following hockey long enough to feel it, but my favorite team in the NFL is 49ers, who have been pooping the bed except for 3 years of glory, which were awesome and amazing. But I just at this point I'm like, I just want them to get into the playoffs as a wild card. I just want the playoffs, like you're saying. I just want playoff action with my team to watch. And so I think I would take that same thing with Flames if they went to the playoffs the next 10 years and got 1 cup or at least made it to the Stanley Cup final. I'd be thrilled. I mean, I'd really want to win the cup, of course, but hey, at least they got there. So, I would take that consistency because I think there's something to be said for consistency. And I think if you consistently get in the playoffs, you might be able to stumble and trip your way into the final. If you're there enough, your chances are high enough, eventually something will line up for you. But the deep run, if you're guaranteed to make it deep, though, but it's like that's just not enough. And like you said, so just too much.
Yeah.
Too much.
And that means you probably have inconsistency during the regular season as well. To where, like, I watch the regular season just for the entertainment of I enjoy watching hockey. And so I can enjoy watching my team play during the regular season. When you get to the playoffs, I watch it because this is the culmination of everything that has built to this point. I'll watch every game I can, every team I can, regardless of anything, because it's so captivating at that point. The teams don't necessarily matter as much. And so I watch my team for entertainment during the regular season. If they're in the playoffs, it makes the playoffs more or less enjoyable during their games, depending on how they do. But obviously all the other series are great. And so I just kind of want that whole... I'd hate to have my team struggling to make the playoffs multiple years and then have one good year and multiple years of I want to sit down and watch my team every night during the regular season for 82 games, compete hard, and have a shot at winning and win the majority of their games.
Yep, I agree with you.
Because the playoffs are entertaining regardless as to who's in it. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
So that would be where I'd fall on that.
Like I say, I'm right there with you. So that was my question for the day for a Heated O-Pinion segment.
Heated O-Pinion segment, eh? Give me a coach that you don't think will last the year or won't last the All-Star break.
Won't last the All-Star break.
Yes.
That's a good question.
And if you don't know the coach's name, you just say the coach in such and such a team, because I don't know all the coaches that have come and gone. Because we know there's going to be some teams that are going to be bad this year, but some of those teams have coaches that they hired this year or last year that they're not going to get rid of this year. Like, we wouldn't probably predicted Joe Quenneville being fired last year.
Right.
But somebody's going to be bad this year that shouldn't be bad this year, and somebody's going to be on the block.
That's a great question. Let's see. So the Oilers just got a new coach, I'm pretty sure. Bruce Boudreau for the Wild. I think if he's not producing, his team's not putting up good points, I think he'll be done by the All-Star break.
Fair enough. All right.
What are you thinking?
By the All-Star break, I don't think we will have a coaching firing.
Which I think in the NHL it's a little more unusual.
No, I think, yes, we will. We will have one. Because I think it happens in Detroit. I think it happens in my town. I think Yzerman will move Blashill out because the Red Wings will not be very good this year. Right. And it'll be like, you know what? I want to give Dan Bilesman a chance, who is a Stanley Cup winning coach with Pittsburgh, even though he won with somebody else's team, and then couldn't seem to replicate that anywhere else. He's a local guy. Detroit's had this issue of hiring local, drafting local, like Larkins from Michigan, Abelcators from Michigan, De Keisers from Michigan. They have a lot of local connections on their team. That's like this. Oh, this great story. Yada 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 yada. Like Taro Hirose played at Michigan State. Dylan Larkin played at Michigan. Kaiser played at Western Michigan. It's like there's a lot of local ties. And Dan Bylsma is another local tie from the Michigan area, from the state of Michigan, I should say. And I think they're going to have to get out of that pattern and be like, we need the best coach available. We need the best player available.
Best Michigan
regardless
person.
as to who's the best story available, because it's not working. And so I think what he'll move on from Blashill and give Bylsma a chance, but eventually he's going to get rid of Bylsma and bring in his coach. Yzerman's going to decide, who do I want for the next 5 years? And if Tampa Bay struggles and decides, you know what, Cooper, you're not the guy, it will be a very, very short period of time where he's no longer a coach in Tampa Bay to where he is a coach in Detroit. I see that happening. If Cooper ever gets fired and Detroit's in any of an iffy spot, Yzerman will bring Cooper in.
Hey, buddy, come on over. You need a job? Oh, hey, look at that. I have a job opening.
How'd that happen?
How convenient.
We made a spot for you by kicking everybody else out the door.
You're going to come, right? Yeah. Oh, no? Oh, this is awkward.
I think Yzerman will realize that he doesn't have the team for the next 2 years to get to the playoffs. Therefore, he can't possibly keep the coach around for those 2 years. And if you're going to do that, then you might as well say, we want to be in the playoffs in 3 years. I want a coach starting now that's going to be in the playoffs in 3 years. I want to bring in players now that are going to be here in 3 years. I want this a group together like he did in Tampa Bay, where you had Cooper and the prospects and some of the existing guys, meld them all together into this unit and move forward. And I think that is where Detroit is going to be. And to get there, some heads are going to have to roll. And I think they're going to roll early as opposed to late.
Okay. I like it.
So that is another prediction.
All right.
For the upcoming season.
There we go. Well, we will see how we fare. Plan to meet again around the All-Star break and see how predictions are going, how to line it up or not line it up. Man, I can't believe you predicted that. Whew, what were you thinking?
Boston's the best team in the league right now. What were you?
Yeah,
where
by
were you
a wide
thinking?
margin.
Ovi's already at 35 goals.
Yeah. All right. So, but that's the fun part. So at least it's not like certain other sports where the same two teams met up for 4 years in a row in finals. But we're not going to bring that up.
I wonder what you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know either. Oh man.
Tennis?
Yeah, tennis.
Oh, okay.
No, golf. Sorry, my bad.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or cricket, maybe. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.